Hi, my name is Stephanie Anderson, and I am a foodie for Jesus. Welcome to my backyard. It is a beautiful day today, so I thought, why not shoot the video from out here? So if you hear birds and things in the background, that would be the birds in the background. So today I want to talk about worrying because worry has been a motivation for me to eat so much in the past. And as I've been turning my food issues over to God and have been on this transformational journey, there have been I've been learning new ways of dealing with things that used to cause me to eat, and worry being one of them. I've always kind of been a worry wart and wart. I don't know. Oh, I've always worried. um, about a lot of things, and big and small. And I feel like especially after having kids, wow, they just come with, even before they're born, just a whole package of things that are is worthy of worry, right? But we're not supposed to worry. And in the past, instead of worrying, I would kind of numb it with food, or I would, eat a whole bunch, or that would be kind of a way to for me to sort of process it. I would just turn to food, as with my worry, as well as pretty much any other emotion I was dealing with, but definitely with worry. And one of the things that I've been challenging myself with, as I'm working on addressing this worry head on and really turning it over to the Lord, as we're called to do, because we're not supposed to worry. And I love in James. James is one of my favorite books of the Bible. It just kind of puts me in my place, when I need to just put things into perspective. But talks about like anticipating, planning for tomorrow. Like, why should we do that? And worrying is part of that. Like, why should we worry? Like, we should be turning these things over to the Lord. So one of the things that I've been doing is, instead of worrying, wonder, changing worry into wonder. So instead of worrying about, I whatever it is, big or small, like, I find that I end up worrying about the most ridiculous things, either when I'm trying to go to bed, or when I wake up in the middle of the night to feed Christian, and then when I'm trying to fall back to sleep. The most ridiculous things. Did I remember to hit send on that email? Or, oh, did this conversation, do I need to clarify something after? And all these like little things. Did I remember, do we close the garage door? All these things that really aren't worth losing sleep over, but I'm worrying about them. And the vast majority of them could be resolved with a quick conversation, or running downstairs and making sure the door is closed, even though I'm 99.9% sure that it is, right? So just ridiculous things that consume my mind sometimes, that shouldn't be, and that I should be spending time, in that case, sleeping instead of worrying. So when it comes to changing worry to wonder, as I was kind of thinking what I was going to cover in my video blog, and I ended up having a related conversation with my husband. So my husband is a farmer. He raises grass-fed beef, and he's anyone who knows my husband knows that he's an amazing man, very, very particular, and perfectionistic in some ways. And I joke with him, I'm like, how did you end up marrying me, since he's like that? But one of the things that he is with his farming and with his beef cattle is very, very particular. And this time of year, the summer, is a very busy and worrisome time for him, and therefore for me as well. And we spend a lot of time watching the weather. He's in the process. So he feeds the cows in the summer. It's easy. They have the grass. They're 100% grass fed, so they just graze on the grass, and he rotates them through. But we have long winters in Wisconsin, so he has to cut the grass and then bale it, so that the cows have food to eat in the winter. And this process requires having a few consecutive days where it's dry, and if rain can really interfere with that. And this last week, he was cutting, and then had some time needed to do. It gets raked. It has to make sure it's totally dried, and then it's baled. And I'm going to make sure that he watches this, so I'm not totally like misrepresenting this process. I've probably oversimplified, but this is a city girl's perspective on what happens. So this last week he had cut the grass, and was basically waiting for it to dry, and then had faced a few issues, weather being one of them. And so was just like really worrying about it. And I said, hey honey, how can we change this worry to wonder? I'm like, this is what I'm thinking about talking about in my video blog. Well, let's talk through this a little bit. And I said, instead of worrying about it, how about if we wonder how God might address this issue? Let's like pray about it. Let's like turn it over to him. And maybe the weather, right? Maybe the weather will end up holding out. And maybe it won't rain over where his cut grass is, right? So there are all these different things. Or maybe it'll totally get destroyed and we'll lose it, but then we'll just have some other way that we'll figure out, that we'll be able to provide for the cows for the winter, right? And there's a lot of the summer is left, and a lot more cutting and baling and all that can take place. And so we were kind of having this friendly, fun conversation about it and laughing a little bit, but I feel like it lightened it up a little bit, and it also really put it into perspective of let's pray and let's turn this over to the Lord, instead of worrying about, is the weather going to hold out? Is it going to get destroyed? Figuring out what's going to happen. As it turned out, it didn't rain. It was dry, but then we faced some other issues with it getting baled, and still ended up losing some of it, but not all of it, which we're even, as part of our wondering, we're wondering if that happened, well then God will take it. God, ultimate provider, will take care of the situation in another way. So my question to you and my challenge to you is, are you facing something where you are worrying like crazy? Maybe you're worried about something health related. Maybe you're worried about something with a child. Maybe you're worried about something with your job or your relationship. Whatever it is, nothing is too big and nothing is too small to turn over to the Lord. Really turning it over and start to then wonder, what are the different ways that the Lord is going. Sorry, one of the risks of being outside, I had a bug flying around me. But wondering what are the possible ways that the Lord can address this for you? Just turning it over and realizing, for me, I've loved it because it's been such a validation and a reminder to me to pray and to turn it over. And then if I start to be tempted to worry about it again, it's that reminder, as I change my worry to wonder, that I have turned it over, that it is in God's hands and it is taken care of. And there are so many different ways he can take care of it. The God who parted the Red Sea so that his followers could cross, right, can address our worries, big or small. So I want to encourage you to take a look at what might be keeping you up at night, what might be worrying you, and change that worry into wonder. Thank you. I look forward to next time.